In this video, we're going to install a Stebel Nautilus air horn on a Yamaha V-Star 650 Custom. To make things easier and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to remove the fuel tank and the seat, and I've exposed the battery on the other side. Using a 12mm socket, I'm going to disconnect this bolt that's holding the horn. Then I'm going to disconnect the terminals. The negative and the positive are right behind the horn. With the mounting bracket disconnected, I can now disconnect the positive and negative terminals from the stock horn. Using an 11mm socket, we're going to remove this bracket from the back of the stock horn. We're going to use these to mount the new horn. Over on the left side of the bike, one at a time, we're going to remove the bolts that hold the engine mount on. So we're going to do this one at a time, like I said. Take this one out, we're going to put this bracket here, put the bolt back in. Take this bolt out, put this thing in, put the bolt back in. And then we're going to torque them down. It's important that we torque these down because they are engine mounts. But these are the two brackets that we're holding the stock horn on. Okay, so we got that nut off. Take this bolt out. So I'm just going to loosen the top one a bit. I'm not going to remove it, I'm just loosening it. And that's just so I can get this bracket under this one. That way we keep some of the black of the bike and we don't have it all being just exposed. So now that this is in here, I'm going to put the bolt back through to the engine mount. Okay, so with that there, I can remove the top bolt, and I'll torque them down after. So this guy will go behind here. Bolt will go back in. Before tightening them in, I'm going to line up these holes here. So now that we've got these two stock engine mount brackets on the engine mount bolts, we're just going to take the bolt that came with the horn and we're just going to put it on here just temporarily. Now this is so when I torque down the engine bolts, the engine mount bolts, that this gap won't open up, because I want to keep this hole exactly where it is. So I want to keep that where it is. I'm going to torque these down now. And we torque these down now, 29.5 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds. Make sure you torque those down. This I'm just going to keep loose for now. Because of where this horn is located now, it's going to be exposed to some water. I'm not worried too much though, because most of the water I've experienced is coming up this way. Like the inside of my boots to my ankles get soaked the most, not up here where like the top of my boots and my shins will be. So I'm not too worried about that. But what I did anyways was on the inside here, I just put some electrical tape, just some black tape, just to kind of cover the edges. Now the one I picked up too is the compact tuning black, so it's got this cover on it, so it's supposed to be more waterproof. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it'll be alright though. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. So I'm going to start mounting everything now. Now we're going to remove that bolt we put in earlier, this one here that we used to hold our bracket in place. What we're going to do now is take the bolt that came with the horn and the horn itself. I'm going to put this bolt in that groove so the hole is lined up. Then we're going to put some thread lock on the smaller one here and thread it down onto this one. Loctite in place. We're going to tighten it down on here. and it's a 10 mil bolt socket to tighten that down. Now we're going to put some more Loctite on here, thread it, put it through that bracket, and tighten it down. I'm only putting Loctite because it is on an engine mount, and I really don't want this thing to fall off because of that. Looking at the back side of the horn now, I'm just going to bring a zip tie around here, and that's to hold it to the fork, just to keep things from vibrating on here. So I've measured out everything I needed. I'm going to be putting my relay under my seat, so I've had to add some wires. So I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Number 30 on the relay, that's going to our power source, our fuse, to the battery. So that's connected to the positive on the battery. Make sure you got that inline fuse before the relay. So that's number 30 of the relay. Now number 86 and 85, you're going to unplug your old horn, throw it away, and the wires that it plugged into, you're going to plug those into the two wires that are going to 86 and 85. 86 is going to be the positive. So on the V-Star 650, it's the red wire, the brown wire is the ground one. So it's going to go to 85. And then 87, that's going to go to the horn, the right side of the horn, right over here. And on this side of the horn, you're going to have a wire that's going to ground out, or in my case, it's going to go to the negative side of the battery. Does that make sense? Let's go over it again. 85 and 86 going to your stock horn wires. Number 30 going to your inline fuse to the battery positive terminal. 87 going to the right side of the horn, and this side of the horn, left side of the horn, going to the negative of the battery. Alright, let's wire it all together. So the relay is just going to be in here, and I'm going to bring all the wires to that point. I'm not going to secure the relay down, it's just going to be sitting in here, but I'm quite comfortable with it just sitting there. It's quite a tight spot, so I don't imagine things shaking free. I'm going to start with the wire that's got the fuse, but there's no fuse in there right now. But this is going to connect to the battery, and I'm just going to follow these wires to where I'm going to have my relay in here. With that wire fed through to where I'm going to have the relay, I'm going to connect it to number 30 on the relay. So, now to number 86 on the relay, we're going to connect this wire to the pink wire of where the stock horn was. And over where your stock horn wires are, we're going to connect this wire from 86 of the relay to the pink wire from where the horn was. I ran out of male spade terminals, so I just closed. But it fits and it stays. So now from this wire, the brown one, we're going to connect another wire to 85 on the relay. 85 on the relay. To the brown wire of the horn. Now number 87, the last one on the relay. That's going to connect to the right side, the right terminal on the horn. The left terminal of the horn is going to connect to the battery. If you're not doing that, you have to ground it to the bike. So now the horn's grounded on the negative terminal of the battery. It's time to connect the positive terminal. Make sure your bike is off and that you don't have the fuse in here. We've got that connected now. we're going to pop in our fuse. The last thing we're going to do is install this onto the horn. So on the end here, there's a fitting. You can attach a piece of hose there and run that under your fuel tank or somewhere, anywhere you think is less likely to catch any dust, because this is what's going to pull air into the compressor, so you can protect it that way. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the other part that came with the kit. That's these here. So just put this over the fitting, take this little piece of tubing they supplied and push it over, and that's going to act as a filter, and this will now go onto the compressor. On the compressor side of your horn, you're going to see this little hole here. That's where this is going to go. So it just goes in, snaps into place. I would prefer to use the tubing personally, but given the location of this horn, I don't want to have tubing going everywhere, and it is facing away from the direction of travel, so it's less likely to get as dusty and dirty as if it were on this side. But I will have to check this frequently just to make sure I don't ruin my compressor. So with that back on, let's test this out. With the horn working properly, I'm just going to cover up some of these exposed wires, hide everything, tuck everything away back neatly. If you've got dielectric grease, feel free to put some around here. Don't put it on the connectors and then plug them in. Dielectric grease is to go around it. You need an electrical conductive grease if you're going to put it between terminals. But anyways, you can feel free to put some there, cover things up, put everything back together, and wake up some of those distracted drivers that are changing lanes into you. Alright guys, hope this helped you out. Take care. Later days.